pretty, trying to search for the word, pretty unfair to teachers. I really do. I think people are requiring to want them to teach too much, and then when they do try to teach what they do, they're too hard. Um, okay, teaching's fun. If you sit in there and you go in the right mind, I try to make it fun. You you do things unexpectedly. When you do things unexpectedly, the students seem to remember more. I taught a whole lesson standing on top of my desk. I taught a whole lesson sitting in a cubby hole under my desk. I brought a drum in. I put a penny on it just to show them the head vibrates for sound with my ninth graders. You gotta figure out how you can have fun. I would have loved to have taught during the flu, the online stuff. I would have loved to try that because it was a challenge.
Yeah.
I did not use the same tests every year. I threw my notes out at the end of the year. I started new every year. You try something, you go. The same thing like when you start thinking about your life towards the end. I say it as a joke, but I firmly believe it. Sometimes you sit down and you say, why me, God? And I got an answer back. Why not? It's that way. I mean, you deal with things. You deal with teaching, you deal with cancer, you deal with, it's part of your life. You grow with it, you grow. You don't let it hold you back. It holds you back, you're lost. You really are. As far as teaching phys is concerned, I had a lot of fun there too.
Yeah.
One kid fell asleep in my class. I rigged up a battery, bell, and a button. Ding. You know, things like that. The kid jumped. I wasn't allowed to hook up the electric to the steel chair, but I thought about it.
Yeah.
But one time I dropped the book behind a kid in chemistry. He jumped. But it wasn't anything physical. I had a great friend across the hall. I brought in students with those RC cars to measure acceleration.
Yeah.
And that. I brought those in and they were running off, and I said, okay, run it into that teacher's room. He said, run it right into the teacher's room. But you gotta look for things like that. You gotta look for things that make your life enjoyable. And here I am lecturing, and you see the teacher in me. You have any questions? I mean, I'll take any education questions or anything on that area, because I did enjoy it.
You mentioned after being diagnosed, you allowed yourself to do anything you wanted. What's the best thing you allowed yourself to do?
What's the best thing I allowed myself to do? Not hold back and go back and go see my kids whenever I can. I went to the Grand Canyon. We just came back from Alaska. We do, and my kids said, you want to go to Alaska with us? I said, sure, why not? And we got a nice little ship. We went as a family. Of course, I didn't bother them and they didn't bother me because they need room to grow. So, I've been in a community band for 20 years with my wife. It's been enjoyable. And that's one thing I try to tell kids. Yeah, all my friends did sports. I did the band. They were done their senior year in high school, and maybe a little bit of softball in that. I'm still playing in a band. There's the difference. At 71, I'm still playing. My band director's in the band, and he's 80-some. We had a guy in the band that played up to 90. He wished he could come back, but arthritis in his hands for playing the saxophone. Those two are my models in playing. So, what do I do? I got so much to do. I enjoy my photography. I go see the kids. I go on trips. We're planning a trip to, one of our goals before COVID was to try to visit every minor league team that plays against the Altoona Curve in their home ballpark. So we're going to New Jersey to see in Somerset, New Jersey, outside New York, to see them play at the end of the month. Don't let it hold back. We go camping. That's what I mean by saying sit back and enjoy. You know, I'd love to bring my dog here. She'd go crazy, but you wouldn't. I don't trust her with too many. No, she's a very gentle one. But I don't know what she would do around 20 kids. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I guess that's what you can say about cancer. Be safe, not sorry. So, any other questions? I'm just talking and not making any sense. No, I'm willing to take any question that. I said mine isn't as dramatic. I don't. You know, there's history of colon cancer in my family's. I've been clean so far, so.
How do you feel like your own diagnosis of cancer impacted how you then see your family members' diagnoses?
I don't see them any different because I don't think they wanted to be, my family wanted them to be treated differently.
Yeah.
My father really didn't get to know my son. The story about that, after my father died, he died when I was 35, was my son was shocked to see his name on a funeral home. And it was his name because he was named after my father. So that was a shock. My daughter never got to know. So, but my mom got to enjoy them all, got to go to at least one of my kids' weddings and a lot of her grandchildren's weddings. So she lived to be a nice age. We think maybe breast cancer. She had operated once, it came back, but she didn't want to go anymore. She was at the age where I'm done with this. So whatever happens, happens. I don't know if cancer got her or she just didn't want to, you know, it's a strange thing. There was no autopsy times. We didn't, you know, she died at home, so. And when my mom said, well, you can do an autopsy on her husband, and the doctor said, no, when I opened him up, he was so full of cancer that I closed him right up after he put the shots in. There was nothing. But pancreatic cancer is like that. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
In a way.
I started going off on tangents. So you can imagine, teaching plan, lost, tangent that way. But it's all brought together.
Yeah.
It's all brought together. So, any other questions? The people you should really talk to are not only cancer survivors, but the people who have seen and gone through what we've seen and gone through with people with cancer. Those are the people you need to talk to. Those are the people that need the encouragement to go on. I think most cancer people accept what's wrong with them. It's the survivors or the caretakers that have a tough time with it. Now, I'm tired, I'm done. My mouth is tired.
Thank you so much for
Oh,
taking
you're
the
welcome.
time
Huh?
and talking to us.
Yeah, it's part of life.